Yeah, good evening, everyone. So, last session we learned about all the installing process. Have you tried that installing? Installed successfully? Huh? Because that is problem with my machine. I have already so many previous versions. I need to reset them, reinstall them. That's the reason problem. For you, it will simply work step by step process. Huh? So once once we install the entire MySQL here. This is exit command, right? So the installation, same, you have to follow the same step. Wherever that database is taking long time, there it will continue simply and it will finish installing. Now, once it is installed in your computer, you will find some MySQL workbench. This is MySQL workbench. MySQL, the latest server is 9.2, but workbench is still, its version is 8. You have to get the same 8 version you will get. So you open this MySQL workbench, and this is MySQL workbench home screen. And in this MySQL workbench, so by default, when you create, one user is already created. What is that user? Root. And whatever password you given. So you given password anything while configuring. So that password, it will continue here. So just we need to select this local connection, because by default, when you installed, you saw it taken the port number 3306, and you need to select it. And when you select, it will ask your root password. And what is the root password? Root password, whatever you have given while installing. And with that password, it is going to log in. So it is going to log in and it is going to display like this. So this is the, this is the complete library that you will see. That means when you see, the environment looks like this here. Here already, if you have selected sample databases, some sample databases will be there. If you haven't selected any sample database, so you can now create the database and you can work. So here commands and features, everything I will explain here now. So after installing MySQL, you have to open Workbench and connect to the default root user. And that root user contains the password that we have mentioned. Once you log in, now we need to work with this workbench. Let's see how to work with that. Here, one more sometimes issue will come when you are working with servers. Actually, every database. So after installing, today I will upload the installation process notes also. Now, after installing, what we have to do is, so here one important note is, make sure that your MySQL server is running in background. So how you do that is, you have to open services.msc on your PC. You have to open services.msc. Services.msc. So you need to open services.msc. In your computer, you will find services app. This is services app, services directly you will get that services. Open the services app and here make sure that here MySQL is running. If it is not running, right click and you have to select the option start. So sometimes even you start today, next time when you restart your PC, next time it will be stopped. So every time once check it is running or not, because on your PC so many local servers are configured and running relative to different applications. One server sometimes stops other server to run by itself. So you have to make sure that the server is running. So right click on MySQL server MySQL and select start. You have to do that. You have to set up. Now, why you need this? Because here every database have two environments. While working with any database, you will find two environments. What is that environment is? Actually, the two environments that you will find is every database have a server. This is the server and it will have a client. Every database will have two environments, server and client. Server is the environment and server is the location where all the data is present. That means your data is kept on server. You will not directly work on server. We don't directly work on server. What happens? Through client machine, we connect to what? Server. That is the reason you have to enter your username and you need to enter your password. Through username and password, you can connect with server. Data is present on server and you usually see the data and work with the data from client. Every database will be same. It have two environments, the client environment and the server. It will have two tools, server and client. Oracle, MySQL or MongoDB, every database have server as well as client. So from if anyone asks what is this workbench? Workbench is a client tool. From the client tool, we are connecting with server. And on server, there is some database. We are creating databases, we are accessing the databases or working with the databases. So what you need to do here? So you need to know here, MySQL environment. One point you need to know. So every database system comprises of two environments. One is the server, another client. Every database comprises of two environments, that is the server and the client. So server is the location where your data is kept, and client is the location from where you interact with the data. So the client tool is MySQL Workbench. The client tool is MySQL Workbench. From MySQL Workbench, you have to connect with the client server and you have to use it. So server is the location where you keep the data. All our data is present in server and we access, we use and manipulate and interact with the data from client. Directly we don't work on server. We connect using client. Multiple clients can connect at a time to server and they can manage the data. Currently we have only one client user. There can be several client users. They can connect with and they can interact with. So this is the basic environment of MySQL. Every database will have these two. Here we have two tools. So server is ready and the client is also ready. So we have the client tool and you can see the client tool is also ready. The client tool is this. The client tool is ready. Now what we need to do is we have to learn how to use this and how do we work with this. Actually, every database contains several objects. Last session we learned about database model. That means to prepare a database we need models: conceptual, physical, logical and entity. Now in a database management system, what are present? What are present in a database management system? Actually, every database management system contains so many objects inside it. Generally, we call them as database objects. Database objects. What are database objects? Actually, you see here. So we have some default one database is present. What is the database? System. System is by default one database. In this system, you can see these are all the database objects. Database have different types of objects and you have to work with different types of objects. You see, whenever you log in, there are two tabs. One is administration, another one schema. Always you need to be inside the schema. So this is administration. Administration is for server connections, user passwords, managing admin. This is not our job. So our job is creating, working with database for applications. So our job is working with what? Schema. And while working with the database, some important terms are required to understand. You need to know what actually database contains. Database management system comprises of lot of objects inside. Those are all used in different situations for different purpose. They are used for different situation and purpose. That means we need to understand what are the database objects. Database objects. What are the database objects we usually have? So while working with a database management system, every database contains so many objects inside. Working with database is nothing but working with all these objects. What are the objects we are having? First important, in the database objects, we have database. Database itself is an object. What is database is? Database is a store where we keep all the data required for any application. Application related all data is kept in one database. So database itself is an object. So database actually it is a store used to maintain data required for application. It is a store used to maintain data required for application. So every database management system will have a database. So that is actually the store. Now, another important is every database management system will have table. Every database management system have a table. Database is designed for maintaining data for application, but in database, data is stored in tables. That means tables are the locations where we keep the data. Data is arranged in tables. We arrange data in tables. So database is a collection of not just only tables. It has a lot of things. So table is the location where we store the data. Inside database, data is stored in a table, and usually table contains data arranged in rows and columns. So table, it is a schema for database used to store data for various modules in application. It is a schema for database used to store data for various modules in application. That means last session I explained, suppose we have a shopping application. Shopping application, it have some 9 modules. In 9 modules, 8 modules need data. And for every module, we need to maintain data separately. So every module, we maintain a table. That means a table is used to store data required for any module. Every module related data is maintained in a table. Suppose customer related information is kept in a table, and user related information kept in a table, products related information kept in a table. All these tables are kept in a database. They are all kept in a database. So every database comprises of lot of objects inside, and one of the primary object is what? Table. Next important, every database will have view. Every database will have a view. Database comprises of tables, and database comprises of views also. View is a virtual table. We have table and it is a virtual table. View is a virtual table. What is a view is nothing but, for example, what happens is, means the scenario we will learn here. Originally, we are having some database. Suppose shopping is shopping DB. That is the database name. In this database, so we have some tables like TBL products, and we have TBL categories. We have TBL users. Like that, we are having some tables. Now, in the products table, these are all actually tables. In the products table, there are so many products in information. There are so many products related information. And out of that, some filtered, ordered, sorted information we need regularly. That means what we need is in this table, we have a table called products. In this table, we have some details. Details like product ID, some details we are having. So we have details like product ID and it have name, it have price, some details are present. We have another table. Another table is like we have vendors. Vendors is another table. Vendors are the people who supply the products usually. Now what happens is from the vendors table, we are collecting some information and we are keeping here. That means here we are keeping like vendor ID, so vendor name like this. That means who can supply that product, that information we are keeping here. Vendor ID, vendor name like that we are keeping. Now what we are doing is we are collecting data from one table or we are collecting data from multiple tables and combining. That means who can supply that product and what is that product. They are actually two details. Now what we are doing, we are combining these two details and keeping in one location so that whenever I need products with vendor details, I can use this one. Am I right? I can use this one. Whenever I want products, I will use this table. Whenever I want vendors, I will use this table. And whenever I want products and vendors combination, then I will use this one. And this is not a table. What is it? It is not a table. It is an view. It is a view. Now into the view directly, can I insert any data? No. Can I modify, delete any data inside the view? No. So what we will do, any modification we will perform in these two tables, one TBL products, another TBL vendors. And this will be updated here. That means it is not just only multiple tables. From one table also, suppose I want all products whose rating is above 4 and I want to use them regularly, then I will create another user interface. We generally call as another view. We will create another view. In that view, we will keep only the products whose rating is above 4. So that anywhere you want, we can access those and we can use those. So data is actually kept in tables. It is not necessary that we have to access and display the data from tables every time. We can create views. Views contains a combination of various queries and a filtered, sorted, ordered data that you can use in your application. So we can create views from tables. Views are created from tables. It is not, because later you will learn how to create them. It is not about one table. It can be multiple tables or one table, anything. From one table we can extract something and we can store separately. So view is automatically updated whenever you make changes in your table. In the table, any changes you are doing, automatically it will update in the view. So every database comprises of a table and a view. So view is nothing but it is a virtual, it is a virtual data set. that comprises of data filtered, sorted, or grouped from various tables or from single table or from specific table, we will say, or from specific table. So it is a virtual data set, we call it as. Data set is a collection of tables or a table which is in the memory where we keep all our filters, sorted contents so that we can easily use them anywhere we want. So it is not necessary that every time we show the data from a table, we can even show the data from a view also. But so the data for view comes always from tables. It will come always from the table. That means we have to update the table. It will automatically update the views. Yeah. Next, important, every database comprises of a stored procedure. It contains stored procedures. Stored procedure. It contains a stored procedure. What is stored procedure? Actually, if you have learned in JavaScript, later, if anybody not learned, you will learn later, because in JavaScript, you will come across with method, function. Am I right? Now, in many interviews, this is a question. What is difference between a method and function? So usually JavaScript is a language. It contains methods and functions. When you learn about functions, methods, you will know about them in JavaScript. Actually, in computer programming, we have three important concepts. What are those is, we have method, function, and procedure. Procedure. Three are present. What is difference is, what is a method, what is a function, and what is a procedure. Actually, method is always void type. That means it will not return anything. It will perform just the functionality given to it. It is not going to return everything. So it is always what type? A void type. Function always returns some value. It is always having a return technically. But in JavaScript, it is like hybrid. Functions can be void and functions can return. Method can be void or method can be written. Actually, in technical terms, method always void and function always return a value. Always return a value. JavaScript usually have only these two. One is functions and methods. Even several programming languages have only two. Generally, what is purpose of a function and a method? Actually, functions and methods are used for refactoring the code. Functions and methods are used for refactoring the code. They are used for refactoring. Refactoring is the process of collecting data and means collecting a set of lines and storing under one reference name so that we can easily reuse. So methods are void, functions are having a return. And the purpose of function and method is to refactor the code. I will show you one point also. In general, your JavaScript, you will learn that procedure is a hybrid type. Procedure is a hybrid type. Hybrid type means in one situation it will be void, in another situation it will be returning. According to situation, it can change. So JavaScript and other programming languages don't have any procedures. So procedures you will see and come across in SQL like language. That means here you can create a function or a method in such a way that in one situation it can return, in another situation it will not return. And if it is doing that, it is not a method or a function, it is called as a procedure. Procedure can change itself according to situation, right? Let's see here. I will show you one point. One second. That means how it is going to work. Actually, in your JavaScript later, if already you finished your JavaScript, you will learn it. Otherwise, when you come across with the concept of functions, you will learn about it. So actually, suppose we are writing some lines. Suppose we are writing some set of statements. For example, uh, console.log some statement 1, console.log some statement 2. Like this, we are having some statements. Console.log statement 3. We are having like this. Now, I selected all these statements. I want to use these statements again and again. What you can do is you can right click on them and you will find an option called refactor. You will find refactor. When you select refactor, it will ask refactor to a function or a promise or a asynchronous function. We want to refactor to a function. And what is the function name? Some print statements. That is the function name. Automatically it will do that. So what is a function? Purpose. Usually functions, methods are used in JavaScript for refactoring the code. And what is refactoring? Collecting all lines and storing under a function name. Generally, JavaScript will teach you this. We call this mechanism as refactoring. And when you refactor, you can easily reuse these functions, methods, procedures. All are used for same. But what is difference between them? Function always returns, method always void, and procedure can change according to the situation. That means if there is data, it will return. If there is no data, then it will not return anything. It will be void. That is not possible everywhere. So that is the specialty of a procedure. So some set of functionalities you need again and again in a SQL language. Then where you keep all these, you keep in a stored procedure. What is stored procedure? It is just like a method that you have learned in your JavaScript. You keep some set of statements and you can execute just with a reference name. Just like you write a method, call the method. You can call from anywhere so that all the statements will perform. That means some lengthy operations I have to do every time. Then I can keep them in a stored procedure so that I can just call the procedure, it will perform. It can be parameterized, it can be parameterless, everything you will learn once we know those points. Like that is the concept of a stored procedure actually. So we have stored procedure, stored procedure. So what is the point is, it is used to refactor the code. It is used to refactor the statements. You can say statements. Refactor the statements. Refactor is the process and is the process of encapsulating a set of statements. The process of encapsulating a set of statements so that you can reuse across various locations. So a procedure can return or can be void. A procedure can return or can be void. It can return the data and it can be void. So database comprises of procedures. Now, usually later you will learn detailedly about it because we are going to learn all of these one by one. Learning database is all about learning these objects. Any database you are learning, that means you are learning about objects. Actually, every language is a collection of objects. You know, you have learned JavaScript. JavaScript is all about DOM. Am I right? Document object model. We have browser object model, document object model, window object, location object, document object, history object. These are all objects. So in database management system, you have database, you have a table, you have view and a procedure. For example, you have 5 different procedures. You have 5 different procedures. And these procedures need to be executed in one at a time in a sequential order. They need to be executed at a time in a sequential order. For example, in your JavaScript, you written a function and you want the function to execute on a particular situation. Then what you will do? You return a function. You want that function to execute not every time on a particular situation. Then what you will do? Who is responsible for executing the function? That means I want a function to execute on a particular situation. Then what to do? You have to write event. You return a function. When the function will execute? On a particular event, like what? On button click, on drop down change, on body load. Am I right? You return a function. When it should execute, that you can decide. The functions that you return have to execute every time? No. In one situation, one function. Another situation, two functions should work. That means you need an event to execute the functions like on click, on change, on load, on blur. Am I right? So here, usually you return some procedures. You may have some functions also. Actually, database is also having function. It is also having a function. It is used to evaluate. It is used to evaluate a value with any expression. So you can build expressions using function. You can build expressions using function. We want to do some mathematical operations, scientific, financial operations, then you need these functions. You will see that. For example, you want to find an average, you want to find the maximum, minimum. So then you need certain functions which will evaluate a value and return a value by using one expression. They use some arithmetic expressions, logical expressions, and they evaluate a value and return a value. So here you have stored procedures and you have functions. And when these stored procedures and functions will execute, you need some events, na? Events. In database management system, they are called triggers. Triggers. In database management system, we call them trigger. That means every database management system usually have a trigger. So it is going to have a trigger. So technically, trigger is nothing but actually your event is a trigger. That means on click is a trigger. What will happen when you click? It will fire up a set of functionalities. It triggers a set of functionalities. That means trigger contains a set of functions or set of statements to execute in a certain sequential order. So what is the purpose of trigger? So it is used to execute a set of procedures or functions in a sequential order. In a sequential order. It is used to execute a set of functions, procedures in a sequential order. We can execute them in a sequential order by using triggers. So database management system comprises of these all objects. We have a database. Database is the location where you store the data. Table is the location where you arrange the data. View is for virtual. Stored procedure is to define certain functional actions, and function is to evaluate some results and values. Trigger is to execute the procedures and functions. Not only that, usually database also contains various different concepts, but they are not supported in every database. You should know about them, but they are not present everywhere. Some databases don't have them, but some databases will have them. Like you have forms. Here database have a form also, and that is not supported in all databases. Recently, several databases are supporting the concept of form. Form is nothing but it provides an UI from where you can interact with the data. Actually, we design a form in the front end using our technologies like JavaScript, HTML, CSS. We design the form. Through the form, we interact with the data. Through the form, we interact with the data. But these days, the database management systems are providing forms also. What is advantage is it is easy to manage the data present in a table by using form instead of managing from table directly. To interact with a table, we need lot of commands, queries. By using queries, we need to do it. But when you design a form, the form provides a UI from where you can easily interact with the data. That means user interface from where you can interact with the data. Actually, this we have to build ourselves using front-end technologies. But now these days, database is having them. Database is providing them. So actually, you have suppose some databases like we have Oracle. Oracle Forms is there. You can see this is Oracle Forms. Oracle Forms is the concept. Oracle provides the forms. And what is the concept here is, so what is the concept of these forms? So forms, this is the forms one. This is the forms. This is Oracle Forms actually. And what is the purpose of Oracle Forms is nothing but a simple point you can see here. So what is this? is a software that is used for creating screens that can interact with an database. Actually, we do that in the front end tools by using softwares, but these days databases having them internal. And these days they are integrated with the databases. That means you don't need a front end user interface. Directly you can use these forms. That means actually to interact with the database tables, you need lot of query. Now providing a form will be easy for interacting with that. So it provides an UI, user interface, for database so that developer can easily interact with database and its objects. Database and its objects. Easily interact with the database and its object. Interaction is nothing but, you can say that, CRUD operations like create, read, update, and delete. Like CRUD operations. Create, read, update, and delete like operations. Right. So these days you will see database is having the concept of form. MySQL is also an Oracle product, but it is not enabled with forms. It is not having the concept of forms, but it have a workbench that gives a form-like interface, but officially it is not a form-like interface for working with the table. So without queries also you can directly do that, but they are not officially forms. Official forms separate tools are given. You can download and install them. And if you have them, you can have a good user interface for interacting with the data. Several databases will provide that, right? Next, important in the database objects, you have reports. You have a report. So database have reports. Database is having reports also. Report is nothing but all databases don't have, but these days some databases have internally reports. For reports, separate softwares will be there. Report is nothing but, suppose you are opening a bank application. In a bank application, you will say that get me the bank statement of last month. That means you select a date, then from that date, you want your bank transaction details. And when you select that, on screen, you will see a table. Am I right? In that table, it will mention on which date, what transaction you have done. Now, that is the data coming from database. Now you want to use this statement and give it to somebody. Then what you will do? You want to give that statement to somebody. Then what you will do? You will create a report. That report will be in the form of PDF or Excel. There is an export option. They will give an option. What is that? Export to PDF. Am I right? And the process of generating a soft copy of PDF or Excel for your data, that process is called reporting. And that is the job of a software tool and a database tool called reports. And reports are not there in all software technologies. All databases don't have reports. But high-end some databases have reports. We have separate reporting tools. We have to buy and use them and install them. Actually, these all you will get when you are using an enterprise edition. Currently, you are using community edition. That means you are using a free one. When you buy, you will get more. Because you are not buying and using it. You are just using it. When you buy, you will get more. That means you have an enterprise edition, professional edition. They are paid services. You cannot directly freely use them. In that, they will provide more facilities like forms, like reports, like analytics, business intelligence. They call them as BI, right? Database has a lot of things, but our community edition don't have everything. So we have only up to triggers, functions, procedures, tables, and views. So what is report? Report is a document which is ready to export your data, or it is ready to print your data into the format of PDF or Excel. PDF, Excel, CSV, different formats will be there. That process is called reporting. So what is report? It is a process of generating a document that exports your data into various formats like PDF, XLS, X, CSV, etc. All these are different options. So we have process. Report is a document that shows your data. Is a document that shows your data and allows to export and print. That is the point. You can export and you can print into various other formats. Report is a document, and the document is meant for showing your data and allows you to export and print the data. So this is report. Every database management system can contain reports. Another important is database management system comprises of, so it contains macros. You have macros. These are also not directly available every time. And we have macro. Macro, it is used to design batch operations. It is used to design batch operations. Usually batch operations is set of sequential operations. Developers can do these batch operations. Actually, batch operations, so you can even try these in your general HTML, JavaScript applications also. For example, suppose I will tell you a point. What is batch operation is? Suppose this is my some web application. It is some web application project is there. This is some web app. This is my some HTML, CSS, JavaScript web application. And web application, you know, every web application will have traditionally some files. You have package.json. You know package JSON. Every web application will have a package JSON. Already we know that package JSON. Now the point is, in this project, I want some commands regularly to use. Suppose I want to install Bootstrap. Generally, how to do that? We have to run the command. What is it? npm install Bootstrap and Bootstrap what? Icons and save, like this we want to do. Some commands I need regularly. Then do you know, you can save these commands under one name and you can just run that name, so that these all commands will execute in the same order. That is called macro. Some set of commands you need regularly. Then don't need to type them again and again. You can keep them under one batch operation and run the batch operation. It will run all. You see, what you can do is go to package JSON. In package JSON, you will find scripts category. Am I right? In the scripts category, already there is some test. Here, we will add one more. That is, I will just keep as boot some name. Any shortcut name. You give any shortcut name you want. Okay. On that shortcut, what it should do? On that shortcut, it should run a command called, what is it? npm install, what is it? Bootstrap, and what? Bootstrap icons, and save. All this it has to do. Do you know if you can create some set of commands and keep under one name, next time whenever you want Bootstrap, now you can simply, so I will show here. Now you can simply open the terminal. In the terminal, you can run npm run boot. Boot is the shortcut name I given. That means it will run this command. Under this command, there are several more commands. Those all commands will execute. So this is called macro. That means there is a macro, and under that macro, some sequence of statements are kept and some sequence of commands are kept. And you see what happens when I run npm run boot, automatically it will execute those commands. You can see it execute the command and it will run those commands. Understood? It is going to do that. This is called as batch operation. And observe carefully. Suppose I run that again, npm run boot. It is doing a batch operation. Then you can use Control C to stop that anytime. You see when I press Control C, it is saying that terminate batch job. In interviews, they ask sometimes, you are using npm install bootstrap, npm install react or jquery or something. What is this npm install? Then you have to answer that it is a batch operation. Understood? It is a batch operation. Under that, a sequence of steps are defined. It will execute all of them one by one. These are called batch operations. Such batch operations we can create in database also. In database, I want some work in a sequential order. Then what I can do, I can put all that work of set of commands under one macro. Under one macro. And that macro, whenever I run the macro, it will execute all the commands in the same sequence. In the same sequence. This is called as what? Batch. And to run the macros, you can use triggers. What trigger can be done? When I click something, when I do something, this macro can execute. You can run macro using a trigger also, right? So this is the concept of macros, the concept of macro. Actually, database can do such things. We call them as macros. Macros are used for setting batch operation. So usually batch operations are a set of sequential operations. You want to execute repeatedly. Sequential operations you want to execute repeatedly. That is macro. So database is not just tables. Database means it contains a lot of things inside. And these are all required for different purpose while working with applications in real time. And these are all not available in every version of your software. Means edition. In every edition, they are not available. So you pay money, you buy the databases, then they will give you more facilities. If you are using a free edition, there will be limited. They will not provide you all the facilities to use. And as I told you, you have analytics and business intelligence. Analytics and business intelligence are also used in databases for data science like concepts. They are used for data science. So they are not required. These are all important database objects. And you see here, but every database will not have, but you see here, you see this is a database available in our project. By default, we have one database. Now in this database, you can see you have some objects like tables, views, stored procedures, and what functions. Now you can have more additional things you can add into that. So, but for that, we have some restrictions, limitations are there. We will see how to handle major options. And not only that, I will show you another database. For example, if you have MS Office in your computers, you will have MS Access, a software called MS Access. MS Access is also used for data. It is also used for database. And in many applications, they use this MS Access as database. It comes with MS Office. I will show one sample database of MS Access. MS Access is also a database. If you want to know different databases in the world, you can visit this website, connectionstrings.com. This is connectionstrings.com. It is a website. You can visit this connection strings website. You will see these are all the databases in the world. These are all the databases names. These are all databases. That means these are all the locations where you can have your data for application. Out of this, you know only 3-4 names only. But these are all used in different situations. For an experienced person, they ask questions from here. That means for experienced people, do you know what they ask? They ask like, I have data in a HTML table. HTML table. You know, HTML page can have table. Huh? They say that I have data in a HTML table by using your Java, .NET or Node.js, any technology. Collect the data from that table and use it in the forms. Is it possible to use a HTML table as data? Can we add rows into HTML table? Can we remove rows from HTML table? We can. In JavaScript, you will learn actually. In JavaScript, you learn how to dynamically generate tables. If already finished people JavaScript, they know now already how to create a table, how to add rows into table, how to remove the rows from the table dynamically. We can do that. That means actually you see here they have given HTML table also. HTML table also used for data. That means generally for experienced people, these are very challenging tests. Because for experienced people, when they go to interviews, they will not ask how to collect data from MySQL and show, because that is their daily job. Every day they do that. They are very perfect in that. For them, they ask that, now this time I have my data in a notepad and all the data is separated with comma in notepad. I want all this data and design a form. Bring the data and show in a form. That's challenging one. That means there is a solution for that. There is a process for that. And experienced people have to know that. At a fresher level, it's not required. So, but traditionally basic databases you need to understand. These are all databases actually. If you select any database, what will happen is it will show the details, how to connect with them, how to interact, how to connect, everything it will show. Usually developers who are working with the database across the world, what they do, they don't waste time in Google. If they got any issue, they will directly come to this website, because this website will show all the solutions to handle databases of all technologies. So here you see I'm opening MS Access. MS Access is also database. Observe here, I will open a sample database. There is some database called Northwind. Some database. Achha, it is not there. I will create one database You see, when I create one database, you can see in this database, it is having, you can see this in the database, it is having so many things. What it is saying? It is saying that all access objects means MS Access database related objects. And see in that what it is having. In this, it is having tables, it is having queries, it is having forms, it is having reports, it is having macros, it is having modules. In MySQL and all, we don't have modules. We don't have them. It is having modules. So it is having macros, reports, forms. You open a table, then you can see that a table looks like this. That means a table looks like this. You open a form, that means a form will provide details like this, an UI. Database provides them. Oracle also have such things. Actually, this you have to design in your companies as a front-end developer. That means in the front end, by using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you need to design this. And for this, data will come from a database table. It will come from a database table. This is forms. You see reports. Reports means this is the report. This is the report, and report is ready for printing the data, exporting, printing the data. You see it shows date, time, and information which we have to print. We can export and print the data. Macros, modules, all these are part of data. So a database is a collection of so many things. Collection of so many things. These are all called as what? Database objects. Database objects. Understood the purpose of them? Where is your data present? Data is actually kept in database. In database, where it is present? In tables. And what are views? Virtual data filtered, sorted, and grouped from multiple tables or a single table so that we can use the data regularly in our application. What is stored procedures? Refactoring the code so that we can execute some set of statements whenever we want by using a simple reference. And to trigger, evaluate any value and return the value, you need functions. The procedures and functions are triggered by using a trigger. And the UI for interacting is given with forms. The document ready for printing your data is a report. And macro is for creating batch operations. Batch operations are created by using this. So you have analytics, reporting, other tools also. Those are not required here. The important things I explained here, what we are having. Now let's see how to work with this. That means how do we work with that? How we can create a database, tables, views, what are the points about them we will understand. And to deal with all these database objects, you need a language. And what is the language you need? A SQL language. You need this language. So what is SQL? So structured query language. SQL is structured query language. Structured query language. So it is a language used by developer to communicate with database objects. Communicate with database objects. It is a language used by developer to communicate with database objects. Database objects means tables, views, macros, all these things, right? So it is a language used by developer to communicate with the database objects. And actually it uses various operators and functions. It uses various operators and functions to handle communication. to handle communication. It uses various operators and functions to handle communication. So based on type of operations, the language is classified into three types. So one is data definition language, data manipulation language, and data control language. This language is again divided into three. SQL is again classified into three: data manipulation, data definition, and data control. Data control. Depending on different types of operations, what it can manage, it is classified into different types. Actually, data definition language is nothing but it is a language used for defining your data structure. Defining your data structure means uh, defining the data structure is nothing but configuring database and designing the configuration for the database. All this comes under what? Data definition. Data manipulation language means it contains actions related to operations on data. Operations like what? Inserting, updating, deleting. Actually, they all we do using data definition. Manipulation is done by using filtering, sorting, searching, all such things by using what? DML. Creating we will do by using data definition. Creating database, creating tables, creating views, creating triggers, everything we do with data definition. Filtering, sorting, all these things we do by using data manipulation. Data control is used for administrating, authorization, authentication, securities, all these we maintain by using data control. Data control is used for security, authorization, authentications and all. So it is again classified into three: data definition language, used to configure and create the data objects. Data, one point I will give you because detailedly we will learn. Detailedly we will learn every concept. Data manipulation, used to filter, sort, group, and manage data. So DCL, data control language, allows to handle security, authorization, security like authorization, authentication. Authorization and authentication is different. You'll learn about them. So we are going to learn one by one how to use data definition, data manipulation, and data control. So the language used by MySQL database is SQL, and this SQL is again three: manipulation commands depending on what operations it does: manipulation, definition, and control. And as I told you already, without using these commands also we can handle everything done with graphical interface. That I will show later, but I will show here one point like, see, suppose we are having you see this is the graphical interface. In this graphical interface, directly you can see buttons, you can see menus. Just what you have to do, database, connect to database, manage connections. You have options like server, and here you have create database. That means it will automatically create a database. Just you click the button, it will give a form, you define something, and it will generate everything for you. That means what is the specialty here? Suppose demo, I just given demo. Then when I say apply, it will write a query for it. Automatically it will write a query. It will write a query. And when you execute this query, it will generate one database for you. You can see it generates a database for you. Without writing any query, we can just design everything. That is the specialty of this graphical interface. But as a developer, you need to learn queries, compulsory. Why compulsory? Because we design a backend application in Node.js, Express.js. And how this application communicates with database in the backend? You designed a backend application using Java, .NET, PHP, Python, Node.js, or any technology. How it communicates with the backend using only commands. Through commands only it communicates. Through queries only it communicates. So you have to know queries. Actually, once we learn all the commands and queries, working with database later will be easy because we don't need to write queries every time. We just visually interact. For example, I want to create a table, just right click and say create table. And when you create table, it is asking a table name. I just added a table name. So suppose TBL products. And in this table, what fields you want? You mention the fields that you want. Later you are going to learn all this. I'm just explaining the concept. That means suppose I say product ID and what is its data type and everything we discussed here. And this is this we will learn later. Then here I'm using like name. Now I created something like price like this. That means I'm using some design. Means here I will create that. Suppose I'm writing like this. You see, when I apply, a query is written for you automatically. This is what you are going to learn now. But you don't need them. Actually, it will create everything for you. That means it generates a query for you. You have to just apply. It is going to execute the query and it is going to create a table for you. So what is the advantage of having this workbench like tool is without writing single command, you can manage everything. But a developer should know all the commands very perfectly because from a backend application, we communicate with the database through these commands. And the commands are classified into three: definition, manipulation, and control. First, we will start with definition commands. Definition commands means how to create database, how to create tables, and all these things. That we'll see in next session. Tomorrow we'll do that. Right? Tomorrow we are going to start learning how to write the queries, creating database, tables, everything we will see step by step. This all I will upload into the classroom drive link. You have drive link now, everyone? No? You don't have drive link? Backend drive link is not given to you? This is the community link, na? Community link you have a WhatsApp community link, it is working. Okay, there I will share this. There I will share this drive link. There I will upload all these notes. You can go through that. Okay, right? Yeah. Or tomorrow I will give a QR code also for that, so that you can scan the QR code and join the drive link. There I will upload these notes. not Google Classroom. I will give a drive link for that. So all the notes will be uploaded there. Okay. Right. Tomorrow I'll share with that.